Hello, everyone. So I think we are live. So I don't know if anyone, I don't know how this works because we've never done a live before. So I'm assuming at some point it'll tell me when people arrive on the stream. I don't know. We'll soon find out. But we might as well chat between ourselves until we know there's people actually watching us.
Okay,
So,
that sounds good. Yeah.
It's pointless introducing ourselves until we're actually there's anyone here. So have a wee blather. So, you were asking me how I was doing, Ben. I'm doing all right here. Definitely on the road to getting better.
Good. You're looking a bit better than when I last saw you, which was 10 minutes after your operation.
I couldn't believe you actually got in touch with me about 10 minutes after I got back from the ward. It was just mental.
Felt so bad afterwards.
5 places have arrived. So hello, how's it going? So you could come along. So back where we were there. So I just got out of my operation a month ago. Got into the ward, and within 10 minutes of me lying there, just waking up, looking about, going, where am I? Ben's on the phone to me saying, "Are we going live on a live stream in 10 minutes?" I'm like, Ben, trust me, this is not the time.
I have to say, you have looked better, Martin. It was like watching the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan when they're on the beach and there's like bodies everywhere. You were in a bad way. I felt really bad afterwards.
That's okay.
So sorry, mate.
Definitely grim. So we have one person here with us. We'll wait for a few more folk to arrive, and then we'll do a bit of an intro for Ben and Simon and I. So yeah, I'm good. You're good as well. You're going to be watching so we're going to be everyone that's watching. We're going to be doing this for about the next 45 minutes. We're going to have to stop thereabouts because Ben's going to go and watch football and watch his team lose.
Well, I hope not.
So what's the prediction for your score?
Oh, it's going to be a close game. I mean, I've got to say Leeds are going to win, so it's going to be 2-1. Yeah. It's got to be 2-1. Are you a Liverpool fan, Martin? Do you like Liverpool? Yeah. Oh my God! Right, we've got some real rivalry then today.
Exactly. Yeah. But I can't really say what they're going to do because they've been so hit and miss this year.
I know. We're just finding some form now. We're like Super League material now. Never mind Champions League. We're just waiting for the call. Extend that to 7 instead of 6 clubs.
All right.
After tonight.
You wish. How are you all today? Glad to be checking out the stream. We are, well, I am good. Simon is in Spain at the moment. Simon works for Leki. And then we've got Ben just down below us, and Ben's in Yorkshire. Ben, folk have probably met before or seen before on a couple of other videos that have been on the channel. So, yeah, when a few more folk join in, we will start chatting about, I don't know, running in general and running poles. Seems though we got Simon here with his nice little Leki top on. He'll be able to tell us everything there is to know about Leki and running poles.
Hey, Simon, it's been really nice in the UK at the moment. It's almost like Spain. The last couple of weeks of weather, it's been amazing.
I've been following a lot of people's feeds on social media, and I'm seeing some gorgeous weather. And what I do love is the fact that people are getting out and taking advantage of it, and rightly so. You know, there's some amazing photographs coming back. The problem we have here in Spain at the moment is the fact that maybe between 1:30 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it gets up to 26, 27 degrees, but then it just plummets. I mean, if I look out the window now, we're probably at 5 or 6 degrees already. Wow. Such a big landmass, the heat just goes super quick. So, but we're having some nice days as well. It's the Mediterranean.
How's it going, Ben? We're just chatting weather around Europe at the moment. So Simon's blessed with loads of nice weather in Spain. Sounds like Ben's had good weather in Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's t-shirt weather in the Yorkshire Dales. It's not often that happens, but I've been enjoying it. Yeah.
No, it's been warmish. In fact, I'll take the top off. I'll join in.
It'll be snowing in Scotland, I expect, though, will it?
Well, it was like -5 a couple of nights ago. So, but today's peaked at about 15, so that's hot.
That is hot. Yeah.
It is hot. But you must struggle, Simon, going out for runs when it's like 26 degrees.
Yeah, we're kind of not built for it. It's a different kind of heat than in the UK. I mean, it's very dry and it's very oppressive at times. I mean, fortunately, I've got the Pyrenees 45 minutes, 50 minutes up the road, so you can kind of start off at 2,000 meters. So you get 5 or 6 degrees cooler, which is a lot more pleasurable to run in, and obviously pretty scenic as well.
Jake's joined us. So Jake went back to uni yesterday, so he sent him back to Aberdeen. So he's telling us it's t-shirt weather in Aberdeen. I don't know. Can you guys see these comments that come up? Ben,
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah. Okay. So nice and warm in Aberdeen, by the sound of it. So I don't know. How long should we wait before there's more people? What do you think, guys?
Give it 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a few more minutes.
Yeah. Have you been out for a run today, Simon?
Yeah, literally. Where I live in Catalonia, it's called Plana de Vic. So if you imagine a frying pan, it's like a plateau, and it's surrounded by the Pyrenees to the north, and then around the side of the plateau are some smaller sort of minimalist hills. So anything sort of up to 1,000 feet, 1,100 feet. So you can pretty much pick and choose. There's 11 of them all the way around, and they've all got monasteries or churches on the top. So I can go on a 6K run and take in 2 of them, or a 10 or 12K run and take in 4 or 5. But there's a really nice run just out the front door that goes around what they call the Green Ring, which is the river that follows the edge of the frying pan, if you like. So every morning it's a 6K at least to do that and just enjoy the morning, and then come back and get breakfasted up on the terrace and live the Mediterranean life. Chuck another shrimp on the barbie.
How about you, Ben?
So jealous. Yeah, I've just been out now, actually. So I was in Leeds this morning doing a shoot with ASICS. They've got some new shoes coming out, so it's nice and sunny in Leeds. And then this afternoon I did a bit of work, and I've just been out to Kettlewell, which is just down the road from me. So been up onto the tops, and t-shirt weather like it is in Aberdeen. It's been great. So just got back. I've just got a shower, just getting ready for the game later, and always good. Yeah, it's always good when the sun's shining. There's a small game on tonight. Yeah, it's like a cup final for Liverpool tonight.
Are you safe from getting relegated then?
Oh, absolutely. We're pushing for Europe, mate. Yeah, I can enjoy this one tonight. It's not as stressful because obviously we don't want to lose, but it's not going to be tragic if we do, because we're not going to get relegated now, so we can kind of enjoy the last few games, which is great. Yeah. Great position to be in.
Excellent. Ray's given us a message from, he is in the States. He's saying good luck with the live stream. Sounds like a good one. He'll watch it later on because he's at work. So he does loads of running, loads of ultras. He runs on the Appalachian Trail all the time. So he does some really good videos. His footage, he just makes you want to go to the States and run on the Appalachian Trail.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does sound amazing. Bit long for you though, Ben.
Definitely a bit long, yeah.
Really.
I'd have to do it in about 100 sections, I think.
Cool. Soupy's here. How's it going, Soupy? So Soupy is in Ireland. Thanks for joining us, Soupy. So let's do a bit of an intro. So Ben, I don't know, you give us a bit of a let's see, I've got a little fancy thing here that I made up somewhere. Okay, Ben. That's for Ben. So tell us who you are, Ben.
Yeah, so my name's Ben Mounsey. I'm a fell runner / trail runner / mountain runner. I live in the Yorkshire Dales. In fact, that picture that you showed then was just down the road from me in Kilnty. That's a Kilnty fell race. So I've got the Italian cap on and the Union Jack in hand. That's the turn at the top, and then before you come down what they call the chimney. So it's a great race, is that one. And yeah, I suppose I've been running now for about 20, 25 years. and I just love running. It's my life basically. And if I'm not running, I'm writing about running, or I'm testing kits, or I'm thinking about running. I love traveling as well, and I like to tie all those things together. So that's pretty much me, really.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, let's get Simon on the go. So Simon's little intro.
Nice photograph. I like the pink, Martin. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd appreciate the pink. And there's a little wave there. So tell us where you were there.
That was at the top of a summit called Matagalls, just under 3,000 meters, just about 20 minutes up the road here in Catalonia in Spain. That was when the restrictions were lifted. So the first thing I did was head off to something big and just tick it. I can see it from my living room window since I moved here back in November. And it's always been on my cards, but with the COVID restrictions, we've not been able to travel cross county, so to speak. So I'm a Leki ambassador. I've worked for Leki for 5 years. I've been running for just over 10 years. Started running to lose weight and get fit, and really got hooked. And then a veteran of quite a few ultras. Started on the sky running scene when the sky running scene was launched 7 or 8 years ago. Run all over Europe and in the UK, still continuing to run, and decided to move out to Spain, to Catalonia. I'm 45 minutes away from the Pyrenees, so I've got the choice of mountains or beach, an hour down the road towards Barcelona, coastal running. So yeah, just doing a bit of work, enjoying my running now in not later life, but I'm not 21 anymore, and just really enjoying it. It keeps me fit. It makes me meet new people, allows me to do stuff like this and talk about what I and everybody else seems to love at the moment.
Yeah. So, Leki-wise, well, running pole-wise, anyone watching and they've got any questions at all, put down a comment, ask a question, we'll try and answer the question. But the whole thing about this particular live stream is we were going to chat about running with poles. Do you run with poles? I know we all run with poles on occasion anyway. But to the people watching, do you guys run with poles? Have you got any questions about running with poles? So I don't know. I think Simon's probably best to kick us off on why should you run with poles. So go for it, Simon.
Yeah, basically, when I started having the sort of relationship with Leki, we had 2 running poles, and they were kind of a token gesture to a sport that they didn't realise was having the immense growth that it was without them seeing. So we sort of got together with the guy from various runners from the UK, Czech Republic, Italy and France, and we had a meeting in Germany, and we decided to put a lot of resources into developing more running poles. We were seeing a lot more people sign up for ultras or distances that were slightly out of their comfort zone, and they were taking their trekking poles and running with their trekking poles. So we obviously knew that people were wanting and understood how poles could help them in a roundabout way. We just needed to develop poles that were lighter and more trail run, sport specific, but also educate people in how poles do actually help on a longer distance. They're not just for climbing and descending, they're for running on the flat as well, for better times, for better health, for better mobility. So now, as we speak today, we have 9 different trail running poles at Leki, which when you think that a pole is a pole is a pole, that's a lot of technology invested in a pole, from the basic pole right up to maybe what we will talk about later, to the more advanced components, more advanced materials that we're using to make the journey faster and lighter and more efficient for the athlete.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got a couple of questions coming up here. So Soupy's jumped on board first, and he has got general advice for running my first ultra, please. So general advice for running your first ultra. So it depends on how long distances you've already been running, Soupy, really. And I don't know, have you been doing, I know you've been out there, you've sent me a video today if you've been out on the hills up in Ireland. and your terrain looked awesome. But I don't know what sort of distances you normally do. So if you're coming at an ultra from are you doing 10Ks? Have you been doing a half marathon or a marathon? It's just basically building it up slowly, really. But I've certainly found for myself, as I did a few ultras, as I progressed, I found them either longer or hillier, but poles certainly did help me. And there's definitely been at least 2 races where I definitely wouldn't have finished without the poles. But that was a very long race and a very hilly race. But general advice for running the first ultra is going to be, well, for me, building up your miles slowly and consistently. Any ideas from you guys? Ben, you've not really done ultras as such, have you? But I know you have as well, Simon.
I tend to specialise in the shorter distances, but I did do the Dales Way a couple of months ago in one, and that's like 81 miles. And I just did that in one gulp. But one thing I would say is that I really practiced using the poles. In fact, Simon taught me a few years ago how to use poles, and then since then I've gone out and practiced on my own. And what I would say, this is the biggest piece of advice, is I would never do an ultra without poles now. But I would always, if you're new to ultra running or new to using poles, you need to practice before you go out there. So don't just sort of turn up with poles for the first time. It's something you need to go out and test and try. And as Simon said before, not just on the steep ground, try running downhill with poles, try running on the flat. And it's interesting because one thing I wanted to do when I did the Dales Way was see whether or not I thought the poles were beneficial to that kind of distance. And I think they're a massive, massive benefit. I mean, like off the scale benefit, because if you can use them properly and you can get the technique right, they're not only good for when you're doing the run, but actually the recovery process afterwards is much quicker. And I found that after that run, I went for a run the next day and I was fine. My legs were absolutely fine. They weren't trashed. That weight that I was carrying on my back with my backpack was all transferred, not just from my legs, but onto my arms as well. And I just felt I was running more efficiently. And I felt like I could go longer with the poles as well. So definitely practice with the poles, give them a chance. It does take a bit of getting used to, but then it becomes like a natural extension of your body. That's how I found it anyway.
So we've got more and more questions popping up here. So as I was saying before, this is our first live stream. So we're just getting the gist on how quickly we need to go in. Because basically we could probably spend the next hour talking about the very first question. But seeing as though there's a load of questions popping up, we better keep popping through them. So Corrimone has asked us, hi all, great runners there. One question from my side, what is your best running memory and experience? There's loads of memories for me. I'll kick off. I might as well stick with one that's kind of pole related. So running the CCC, which is one of the UTMB races, it's a smaller, shorter race than the UTMB. But I started that race with poles and used them every single step of the way. And on the very last mountain, I did really well. Started off on the first hill. I started right at the back of the pack and not knowing what was coming, what to expect. So I thought I'll start at the end and then see how things go. But starting at the end just meant there was a big bottleneck near the beginning and you just couldn't overtake anyone at all. By the time I actually got to the top of the first hill, I was still super fresh and felt great and carried on for most of the race, feeling really good, overtaking loads of people. But by the time I got to the last hill, it was like 4 in the morning, or probably 3 in the morning. It's, I don't know, over 2,000 meters in height, the last hill, absolutely knackered. I'm going up on the hill, using the poles, having to stop, sit down on a big rock, watch everyone go by me, and thinking to myself, my goodness, I'm the person that I've been passing the whole race, because I've been passing loads of people that were in trouble, and now it's me that's in trouble. But eventually I got myself to the top of the last mountain just as sun rose, and I'll never forget it. Where you got to the top, the sun comes up, I see a massive big north face tent at the top, and the views were amazing. And that's definitely always in my head, just getting to the top. And it's almost like the saying of it's always darkest before dawn. And by the time I got to the top, the sun came up, I just had loads of fresh energy, and that was me off down to the end. So that's definitely a big memory for me. So I don't know, how about you guys? Give us something from you.
For me, it'll probably have to be Matterhorn Ultrax in Zermatt in 2016. I think it was 2016. It has the notoriety of being the sky race with the steepest start, the steepest first half, and it goes 2,500 meters to the top of the Gornergrat, which I think is 4,600 meters within the first 12 kilometers. So it's a bit of a ridiculous start to the race, but I remember, running up to the top of the Gornergrat, tasting blood and feeling really grim. And it started to rain and it started to sleet. And being British, we're kind of running that all the time, even in summer. So I sort of got my windproof out and I looked and I could see all these skinny elite runners and runners that are younger and obviously better than myself shivering and stopping to put on waterproofs, and then when we got to the feed station at the top of the Gornergrat, they were taking on hot drinks, and I thought, right, this is my chance. It's downhill now for another 5 or 6 kilometers. So I just pegged it downhill, down the side of this big Alp, and caught up loads of places, and then up and down for the next 40 odd K, and coming round the corner into Zermatt. And like you, Martin, seeing everybody there with the cowbells, realising that I wasn't in the bottom end of the field, just because I'd taken the decision to try and put some distance between myself and the guys that were feeling the cold, which for me was normal British weather.
Yeah.
And to come down and then to see everybody there and the film crew's still there, and to run across and take the sort of line in Zermatt, knowing that you put in a really good effort. And I actually ended up being just over 40 minutes ahead of my predicted time, so I was well stoked with that. And that's probably the best memory and the best sky race that I can think of that I've ever run. It was just amazing.
Go for it, Ben. Give us a short one.
Well, to be honest,
yeah,
I'll keep it short. I mean, I can't really pick one memory out. I mean, I think for me, running for Yorkshire, running for my country, England and Great Britain, is probably the highlight of my career, really. And any one of those times, but also for me, it's about kind of traveling and new experiences. So every new experience I have, if I go somewhere different, Italy, Spain, France, wherever I travel, I always try and run somewhere. And I think collectively, those are my best memories, because I like to discover new places, meet new people. And if I had one piece of advice as well for anybody, that would be to travel as much as you can. And just try and immerse yourself in the local environment, the scenery, and just try and, I suppose, embrace the new cultures and meet new people. And, that's the best way I think, discover new experiences and new places. But that's, for me, the best memories, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Jess here who has asked, talking about running poles, I've never tried them, but I want to increase my race distance. What's the most efficient way to carry running poles? So who wants to take this one on?
I'll take this one. If you've got a race vest, make sure you get a race vest where your pole carriers or your feature to carry poles is on the front, because you will remember to use them if they are in front of you. A lot of race vest technology has the poles at the back, and it's okay to stash the poles maybe at the start of a race, but you kind of forget that they're there, and then you kind of think, when you, particularly on a longer race, you don't want to put the extra energy and effort into trying to mess around and get something that's not visible. Yeah. So if you have the poles here, it's just a reminder that they're there to use them, and it's easy to get them off on the front. So try and pick a race vest that's got pole carrying facilities on the front. If not, just have them somewhere visible rather than tucking them away around the back so you can't see them, because it's out of sight, out of mind. And you'll naturally just not use them. You'll just keep pushing and pushing because you'll consider wasted energy. I've seen it happen a lot of times. So for me, in the front is
it's just keep it as simple as possible. Use as much energy as you need to.
Yeah.
So what we got? The next question up, we've got Soupy. So Soupy, he was asking about advice for running his first ultra. So he does mainly 16 miles, but looking to do it on trails. So he's going to be doubling his mileage, really. So yes, just up your mileage, Soupy. Do it gradually. That's like 3 weeks in a row where you're building your mileage, and then have an easier week, and then repeat that again. And try and get some back-to-back runs in as well. So not necessarily just going out and doing a 20-odd mile run on a Sunday and then feeling knackered the next day. Try and do like a 12-mile run Saturday, 12-mile run the Sunday, and get used to running on tired legs. That's another good one for running ultras. And get used to eating as well, eating on the go. So a lot of people that do shorter races, they don't really eat when they're running. When you do ultras, you need to fuel yourself. So just get used to finding something you like to eat. Bagels, just whatever you want, whatever works for you. Some people like gels, some people like real food. So give that a go, Soupy.
I think the tip as well when you're running ultras is to kind of be like a diesel engine and just keep your pace steady. And one thing that I always say to people is there is absolutely nothing wrong with walking the uphills. When Kilian Jornet is running long distances, he doesn't run every uphill. So, I would suggest that walking a decent pace up the hill is a bit of an energy saver as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just one thing I was going to add, and it was something you mentioned, Simon, about having your running poles kind of in your pack and stored so you can get them out quickly and easily. And I think the same can be said for everything that you carry, really. So especially if you're doing an ultra distance, you need to have the food that you're carrying accessible as well. You don't want to be going in your bag every time you need to eat something. And you want to be eating every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even probably more than that, actually. So one thing I found really useful was to have all the food at the front in big pockets, so you could just take things out and eat them, rather than having to take the bag off to get in there. And think about where you put things and where you store things in your pack. Your pack's probably the most important thing, if I'm honest. And then obviously the poles as well. But yeah, eating for me, because I eat a lot anyway, but having that food readily available, so you're not faffing around is really important. Having the right food as well.
Yeah, exactly. Getting used to it. Okay, so next one up, we got Corey Moan again with you both raced when you were super young. I don't know who he's aiming this one at, because I certainly didn't race when I was super young. What's changed today? What's the motivation? Is it different from the past? So what motivates you guys? For me, it's just the love of being outdoors. More for just being, I find that I can just see a lot more when I'm out in nature, when I'm out running, than I could if I was walking. I'm going to cover a lot more ground. I'm just going to have a nice day out. Whereas I used to be a bit more obsessed with trying to improve on time, whereas now I don't care so much about the time. I just want to enjoy myself. How about you guys, Simon and Ben?
Go on, Simon, I'll let you go first.
I just have to steal some of Ben's stuff, to be honest, because I think Ben hit it on the head with travel, culture, different people. You can learn an awful lot from runners running in different countries and their style and what they use, and you can pick up tips. But most importantly of all, you can line up on a sky race, on a good race with some of the elite runners and world class runners, the best world class runners that we've known, and everybody will have time to talk to you. You can ask anybody anything, and there will always be people that will talk to you. And for me, the motivation, people have come up to me and asked me, where did I get so-and-so? How do I pack so-and-so? What do you expect? It's complete strangers. And 9 times out of 10, you'll walk away from a race weekend with more friends than you started with. And for me, that's the motivation. And Ben alluded to it earlier. I think it's very, very important and great for the soul and immensely good for the sport as well.
Yeah, definitely. I have different motivations actually when it comes to running. So in general, it's to enjoy it. It's to travel, to experience new things, as I mentioned before. But then when it comes to racing, I have a different motivation. So I obviously want to try and win races. and the training that takes place in preparation to win those races. To get motivated for that, you've got to think of the end goal, where you want to be, what you want to achieve. This year, for example, I'm just about to turn 40, so I've got a new age category to go into. So I'm competing against different people, and that's been a massive motivation for me this year. You know, the fact that I want to try and win not just races in the kind of open category, but also compete for my age group as well. So I've used that as a huge carrot, if that makes sense. And I think I test myself against myself as well, and not only against other people. I want to kind of push my limits, see what I can achieve whilst I'm still young enough to do it. And I use Strava quite often to do that. So if I'm competing against myself, I'll set segments up, and I can kind of do the same training week on, week off, over a period of time and months, and see how I've improved. So just to see improved performances for me is a big motivation, and obviously to try and be the best that I can be when it comes to racing. But ultimately, running in general for me, the motivation is just to, like you guys said, enjoy it, travel, experience new things. So yeah, there's a range of things that push me, and there's quite a lot. I've never not been motivated to run, put it that way.
No. Okay, next question up we have, I don't know how you pronounce your name, Mia. I always say to myself, Mia. So sorry if I got that wrong. Hi guys, I only use poles for ultra racing or vertical racing. On shorter races, I think it's harder to take them with you, and it's not worth it. Do you use poles for short runs? I certainly don't use poles for short runs. I'll only use poles if I'm going for hilly runs or training to long distance stuff. I don't see the need for it on a short run for myself. How about you, Simon?
I just have to look at the terrain first. It depends. Normally, for anything up to half marathon distance, I probably wouldn't. But here, a half marathon distance, you can accumulate over 2,000 meters. So, for me, there is no problem. There's so many packs and waist bags and belts now that you can have to just chuck the poles in to have them. That they're not a hindrance. So my advice will be to try and get used to just carrying them, because you never know. I mean, if you look at the terrain, and the terrain is very pointy, so to speak, then yeah, take your poles. If it's pretty flat, then not necessarily, but you take them and get used to using them. You're always learning. As a rule, not so much for me, but if here in the Pyrenees, yeah, it's going to be more of a case where I'm going to on the shorter runs.
Yeah.
I agree with Simon completely there. There are occasions when I do run with poles for short runs. One occasion would be to practice with the poles, just to sharpen up my technique. And also, if I've had a tough training run the day previously or the days previously, or I've done a hard race, I'll use them as a recovery. So just to take the weight off the legs, because my legs are sometimes really sore from descending and climbing. And then I would use them in a VK as well if it was steep enough. So like Simon said about the terrain, if the terrain suits using poles, especially, the steep climbs and also steep descents, then I would use them. But it's either for practicing recovery or for short races where poles would become an advantage. But other than that, I wouldn't do, no.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we have?
Some great questions, by the way. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good questions. So it's Gerard and Nikki. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Jess is saying thanks for the answer. Back to Gerard and Nikki. You don't know anything about running, just here to show support.
It's very kind of you, thank you.
Good of you to come along. Okay, so what have we got? Mia's back with a good thing Simon says, because if you put your poles in your back, you'll forget about them, and you won't want to waste your energy stopping to take them out. So yeah, it's a good point that Simon brought up there. Middle-aged runner. Okay, that could be any of us here. Been practicing with my poles lately, had them for over a year and never used them. I got a 250 miler coming up in 2 weeks. I'm planning to use them the whole time.
I would do as well. I would use them the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the question
from start to finish, I'd be doing the same.
Yeah, why have you had them for a year and you haven't been using them?
It has been lately though, so that's good. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's good luck with your 250 miler. That's going to be
good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Good effort.
Yeah, really good effort. Corrymone saying thanks. And then where are we going here? Corrymone again. I apologise, I have to leave. Right. Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers for the questions, mate. They were brilliant questions. Yeah.
That is us for questions. So now we can just blather. So what else do we want to cover about running general polls? Oh, there we go. Mia is Mike in English. Thanks for your. Yeah, it's Mike in English. Thanks for your motivation stories. Okay. I now know how to pronounce your name. So yeah, polls. What other poll-related stories have we got?
Simon, I've got a couple of questions for you, if that's all right. Have you noticed more people use polls in Spain and in Europe generally? Because I don't feel like they're that popular at the moment in the UK. It's something that's slowly creeping in, isn't it?
It's good question, Ben. I mean, basically here in Europe, if you line up at a race, or if you go out for a run like I did this morning, people are using them. At a race, it's probably 80% of people that use polls, 20% that don't. In the UK, it's very much the polar opposite at the moment. And I think a lot of people need to learn how to use polls. They need to appreciate that polls do actually benefit them, and they need to lose the stigma of having polls, or cheat sticks, as people have called them in the past. But yeah, Ben, here, and it's not just a certain age group or a certain runner. You know, you can get the young teenagers using them. You can get the people in the 60s and 70s that do run here using polls as well. So they get it in Europe and here. And like I said to earlier at the last question, you know, I can go for a run for 12 or 15K. And sorry?
Carry on, sir. It's just... Adrian and Nico support the wrong football team. That's the problem.
No, I'm a big fan of Adrian and Nico. Sorry, yeah.
Totally lost what you were saying there, Simon.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I'm just
looking at the message.
I just like to see Ben's reaction. Yeah, Ben, the quick answer to your question is pretty much most people use polls out here. And it's not like the big game of Kaplunk that you think it is. You know, that you're not tripping over poles and getting stabbed in the back with them and stuff. It's people do appreciate their worth and how to use them here.
What about sizing for poles? Because somebody did ask me not long ago on YouTube, why would you get a fixed length pole over an adjustable length pole?
Yeah, that's also a very interesting question. I mean, ideally, with an adjustable pole, it covers you for so many different things. With an adjustable pole, as long as you use them with respect and carefully, you can use them as a mild trekking pole and also a general walking pole, because you can adjust the height to change what you're doing. The downside with an adjustable trail running pole, which Leki do, we do a male and a female one, is that you've got the added extra weight, which could be critical if you're doing a longer run. Ideally, you start off with the pole length that is your pole length, so it's your hand at right angles, and the pole tip into the ground, and that's your pole length. And then you can play around and maybe go short, maybe go longer as you get used to using the poles. But when you're a first-time user, you use your pole as a right angles to your body into the ground, and that will be your manageable pole height.
Okay. And how about, because a lot of people buy less expensive poles. What's the advantages of spending a bit more and getting a quality pole?
Well, you've just summed up you've answered your own question.
A loaded question for you there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same as everything. I mean, like I said earlier, a lot of technology and research, and we at Leki we use different materials for the poles. They go through a rigorous testing program at least a year before they're released to the retailers and to the public. So we do put a lot of effort into not just manufacturing the pole, but also making sure that it will work and it will perform under stress. It will give you longevity. You pay a certain amount for a pole, it will last the distance. Unfortunately, a lot of pole accidents are user error. it is, you know, with a pole, it is a high impact piece of equipment, and when you're tired at the end of an ultra, you tend to lose your concentration a little bit. So we do see a lot of pole fatigue, shall we say, when people come to do returns or warranties. But you said the same thing. If you pay a little bit more money, you'll get something that'll last you as long as you look after it.
Yeah.
Simon,
go on, Ben.
Sorry, I was going to ask, how long would you expect poles to last for? Like, how many sort of runs, races? Is there kind of a lifespan for poles? How would you know when to replace a pole?
A pole will last you a lifetime, Ben, because every piece on the pole is replaceable. So you look at things like the tips. The tip is the first thing that's going to wear, because obviously it's the thing that's in the contact with the ground. So that's replaceable. Every section of a Leki pole is replaceable, from the 10 mil section at the bottom to the 16 mil section at the top is replaceable. The handles are replaceable. The straps are replaceable. So everything, you can replace the bits on the poles and have them for a lifetime. Like I said, it's usually people who fall on them, who do bad placements between rocks, which we've all done, and we can all do. That will damage the pole, but we can. At Leki, we will try and replace the part before we replace the pole, because with Leki, if a pole is released to the general public, we have a minimum of 10 years for spares to be available. And believe me, the UK distributor of Leki has pole spares going back 20 years plus. So we can always find something to replace a part of a Leki pole that's been damaged or broken.
Yeah,
that's really good to know. I'm glad I asked that question now.
For you there, Ben.
A bigger option when you don't have to pay for any more poles.
Who's Marcelo? I'm guessing he's a Leeds player, is he?
It's Bielsa, it's the manager. He's basically God. That's all you need to know, Martin.
So, Suki wants to know, what's the best discount code? Where's the best place to buy your poles?
Well, you can either go to Leki, or you can use Sport Shoes, who I work full time for. So you can use Mounsey 10 as a code, which is basically my surname with the number 10 at the end, and that'll give you 10% off. And then I'm sure Simon might have something to add to that as well.
You can use it Friggin as well, but I don't have a discount code.
I didn't know about the discount code. Apparently, Ben only shares that with his friends. But if you go to Sport Shoes, and use Ben's code, that would be cool. Yeah.
That's James that's just joined us. So how you doing, James? Thanks for joining us. You've come along. Where are we? 7:41. So we don't have much longer to go, James, because there's a football match on shortly. And
sorry, guys.
We're going to have to cut it shortly. To watch Liverpool thrash Leeds.
Did anybody else have any more questions?
No, I think that is it with questions. Pole-wise, with you mentioning before about poles almost bending, I've had poles stuck on top of Monroe's where I've planted them in between boulders and leant over them much more than I meant to, and they still haven't snapped. So I've been amazed with the poles I've had that they're still going strong.
The poles are made to be strong in. I mean, you remember this, Martin, because you saw me the next day. But I finished the Ben Nevis ultra marathon a couple of years ago with a suspected broken ankle, and I ran the last half of it, I think, completely reliant on my poles because I could hardly put any weight on the left ankle. As soon as I did it, bent over and buckled. So I ran pretty much the last part of the race in the Scottish Highlands relying on the poles, and I couldn't have finished that race without them. And Martin saw me the next day, and my ankle was...
His ankle was horrendous. And you had a picture of your ankle. I think you put it on Instagram or something.
Yeah, it just filled it. Yeah. Luckily, the van I was driving was an automatic, so I drove myself to hospital. But the poles got me across the line, definitely. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So I think we're probably going to have to wrap it up here, aren't we? Time-wise, but I think that went well. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks Simon and Ben for coming along as well. I enjoyed that. That was good fun. We'll do that again. And anyone wants any particular subjects, get in touch. And a quick thank you to everyone who's sent me in clips of videos, clips of where they go running. So I've been able to make some videos for the my channel when I've not been able to run. So thanks everyone. I know Soupy sent me another video today, so that's really good of you. So thank you everyone for coming along, and we will see you on the next one. Okay, cheers everyone.
Thanks guys. Cheers. Thanks for the questions.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.